And enable Rika. Okay. So real quick before we start, something I want to make into like, almost a tradition, since I've been walking every morning recently. Let me see here. This morning, what I watched during my walk was this stupid Pokemon cards video from Lockston and Noggin. It's pretty good. A little bit short though, so I watched part of Radical Soda's Scarlet Violet. It's not really a let's play, it's not really a review. I don't really know what you'd call it, but it's good. Radical Soda is very, very good, very, very funny. And I'm still working on that because it's a whole hour long. So I will just plug these in chat for anyone else interested. And as always, I'm looking for stuff to watch during the day, because I've been walking for like 3 hours every day recently. Been good for the depression, been good for the weight. So here are these. Well, in the case of the Radical Soda one, maybe watch the previous parts first. But anyway. Okay. I've done that. And let's continue episode 7. I'm not sure how much there is to episode 7. I don't think it ends immediately after, like, Clear's play, but I think it's gonna be like the finale after that, I'm not sure. Valor-sama has left the Ushimura family? That's what Cross-sama and Rudolph-sama were saying. What a shock. Yeah, I don't know where he is, he'll probably show up. You know him. I have no intention of criticizing your way of life or your family situation. Our father is in a towering rage. Disinheriting his son is one thing, but I've never even heard of a child becoming fed up and leaving the family on his own. That battler could be surprisingly stubborn. Sort of like someone else I know. If you aren't able to understand Battler-kun's feelings, one might question your right to be a father. Enough, Natsu. I'm sure Rudolph was just trying to show how dedicated he was to raising Kiria-san's child in his own way. I would have nothing to say if this were happening next year. But why this year? He's still in his period of mourning. If you consider the timing of this pregnancy, one must acknowledge that Rudolph-san has acted disgracefully. Come on, don't be so harsh. This is my way of atoning for what I've done. Eh? Having another kid? Battler-kun's trying to protest against you on behalf of his departed mother, Asumu-san. I deeply understand how he feels. If he were here, I would want to hold him and cry along with him. Natsu's words were sharp. They pierced Rudolph mercilessly. Rudolph had no retort. His relationship with Kirie had been adulterous, plain and simple. According to Rudolph, he had been close to Kirie longer than Asumu. And even after his marriage to Asumu, that relationship had not disappeared. And we've heard a lot about that from Kirie before. What the hell does that mean, you old bastard? So you've just been betraying Mom from the start. Sure, I know Kirie-san. You've told me that she was your business partner, and a friend whose advice you could always rely on. If you're trying to say after all this time that she was more than that, then why should I give a damn? After Mom's death, you could have done whatever you wanted. I'm right there with you, saying that you should live life as you please. But just when did Kirie-san get pregnant? Back when Mom was still alive, right? Yeah, now I finally see. So this is why you always make me want to vomit. Are you glad that Mom's finally dead now? You are, aren't you? I'm sure Kirie is, but Rudolph... I don't know how you'd feel in that kind of situation. I can't put myself in those shoes. I'm sure it would have been so hard on you keeping your infidelity and even a kid's secret while Mom was still alive. But now that Mom conveniently kicked it, you get to marry Kirie-san, and I got a new little brother or sister? You can bet that Mom's crying in heaven. You bastard, you're embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. So embarrassed I can't stand to have the same last name as you. The kid is completely guiltless. It'd be too sad if he or she doesn't have both parents together. Go ahead, build a new family and raise that kid to have a happy life. But I'll never forgive you. Mom isn't here to hate you anymore, so I'll hate you in her place. With all my body and soul. So long, old bastard. Harsh. But very understandable in the moment. That is enough, Natsu. Rudolph hasn't lost the affection he feels for Battler-kun. It may take some time, but he wants to fix their relationship one day. As any father should. If it were some complete stranger, that would be one thing, but this is your own flesh and blood son. It's clearly your responsibility. Go ahead, despise me all you want. I won't argue. There you are, Rio. Hi. We'll shuffle him over here for the day, I guess. Hat here in my nose. That's the only way I can atone. At the very least, make sure you give the new child a happy life. The kid who's going to be born and Battler. They're both my kids. Alright, wedding as a verb. Wedding Kiria-san after Asumu-san's death may have been painful for Battler-kun, but it was the best choice you could make for the coming child. I understand why you did it. And I understand why Battler-kun felt like telling you that you were happy Asumu-san is dead. Stop, Natsu. Rudolph has already been scolded enough, but the person must fit to do so. Now then, how about some black tea? Could you go ask someone in the kitchen to make us some? Understood. Natsu took this as a signal to leave the room and did so. Once she left, Cross relaxed slightly. I feel bad for Asumu-san, but if we consider the timing of that soon-to-be-born child, this might have been quite the convenience. Almost as though Asumu knew that and stepped down from the stage of her own choosing. Did I kill Asumu? If so, how long has it been since I started killing her? If you still treasure Asumu-san's memory, then no matter how many years it takes, you must fix your relationship with Battler-kun. Yeah, I know. And be sure to pour just as much affection on Kirie-san and the new child that is to be born, while also bearing Asumu-san's cross. If they have reserved seating in hell? If they do, I'd like to reserve myself a VIP spot. Being a little bit dramatic with your brother. The news that Battler had abandoned the Ushirime name swept across the family. And poor Battler-san too. I do believe that I'll make up with him eventually, but... This is a matter for the family. It is not something servants need concern themselves with. Instead, we should focus on memorizing the face of the newest member of the Ushirime family, Kirie-sama. Yes, that's true. She will be coming to the family conference this year. If the person who just joined the Ushirime family would be coming to the conference, then what about the person who just left the family? That means Battler isn't coming, right? That seems the most probable outcome. How lonely is the loss of a single, noisy man? Though most people felt a bit lonely to see Battler leave the Ushirime family, they didn't think any more about it than that. However, what about Shannon? Wasn't Battler supposed to come for her on a white horse? Battler broke his promise. I was surprised at first. I thought that, since he had left the family, he might not be coming to this island anymore. If we consider Battler-san's feelings, this is only natural, I guess. I understand painfully well why he wanted to leave his family. But, does that really mean he won't come to Rakenjima anymore? What on earth is going on? Will he really never return? Unable to ask him this directly, I was forced to live each day fretfully. Battler-san, I understand how you feel, but to say that you'll never return because you've abandoned your family, that's a lie, right? I was so confused that the world seemed to be spinning around me. I had a tight feeling in my chest and couldn't think about anything. When I happened to touch my cheek, I was surprised to find it hot and wet. While wearing a truly miserable expression on my face, I was crying. Shannon, Shannon. From far away, I could hear someone calling to me, but it was a very strange sort of distance. Though it felt very far away, the voice also seemed to be coming from right beside me. We've gone from focusing on Yasu to focusing on Shannon. Shannon, I know your heart. It's okay. It's just a fight between a boy and his father, and I'm sure the rumors blow everything out of proportion. Everything's just being exaggerated. Indeed, there are none who can say with certainty that Battler will not return to this island. You would do well to remain strong. Where is this place? I seem to remember it somehow. I think it reminds me of the scenery from a strange dream I once had. Then this must be another dream. I was there, under an arbor surrounded by a golden rose garden, and two witches in white and red dresses were showering words of encouragement upon me. You can be sure that those rumor-mongering young servants are embellishing the story however they please. So, he has changed his name, they say? Surely this can be nothing more than a family quarrel. Thank you. I wish I could believe that. Of course it's true. He's a boy, after all. You can hardly be surprised that he's had a few arguments with his dad. Precisely, as you say. Clearly, they will make it up to each other once they cool their heads. When men argue, it's always fire at first, but they burn out quickly. In contrast, an argument between women burns like a steady flame, but the fuel never goes dry. Men's arguments are fierce but short, quick and easy. You're right. I hope Battler-san and Rudolph-sama make up soon. Oh, they will. Haven't you heard Battler mentioning it all the time? He always fights with his father. This is just another of those fights. The death of his mother and his father's remarriage had merely upset him. I think that's a bit more than an upset. I think that's pretty serious. It's more like trauma. It sounds as though he's gone to live with his mother's parents, but after he's cooled his head for a few days, or 6 years, he'll come back. It's like a kid running away from home, see? The two witches kept saying that Battler's fight hadn't been anything huge. If it had been a mere family quarrel, the rumors wouldn't have started in the first place. And plus, he only went back with Rudolph because his grandparents died, I'm pretty sure. I wonder if he would have stayed apart otherwise. Shannon has not yet showed up in these flashbacks, in these stories, no. Not yet. Not a single time. If it had been a mere family quarrel, the rumors wouldn't have started in the first place. I think he just hasn't been hired yet. Taking an optimistic view here isn't likely to prove useful. Either way, this is a problem between Battler and his father. If you're patient, time will heal all wounds. There's no point in you feeling bad over it. Just because Battler happened to be absent today doesn't mean we can be sure he'll never come back. All this means is that Rudolph came alone today. True. Of course, he will be at the next family conference, as energetic as ever. By then, Rudolph will probably bring that Kyrie here too. Battler may be sulky about it, but I'm certain that he will come as well. How certain? You're right. Yeah, I'm sure you're right. How nice would it be if they were right? In fact, if I could, I'd like to flip through the calendar until autumn right now and check to see whether he does come to the next conference. If he does, then all my fears are groundless. It would mean the rumor-mongering family members and servants have just blown things out of proportion. If Battler-san was right here, I'd want to question him right away. Hey, it isn't true that you'll never come to Narkenjima again, right? And then, if he said of course he would come again, it would be such a relief. I feel like if they really tried, like, Shannon and Jessica are on pretty good terms, right? I feel like Jessica could probably get the phone number and, like, Shannon could make a sneaky call or something. You know, the phone number of Battler's grandparents' place. I feel like it'd probably be doable. But Shannon's just too timid, I guess. Oh. This came up. I don't know the phone number for Rudolph-sama's house, but I could probably look it up if I tried. However, as a servant of the family, I have no excuse for making such a call. And anyway, I have no way of knowing the phone number for Battler's grandparents' house. I can't do anything except wait for Rudolph-sama's family to come visit and hope that my fears are groundless. However, will I be able to make it through the day feeling like this? No way. I doubt I'll sleep a wink tonight. Just waiting around, feeling like this, when I don't know when my next chance will come? I can't do that. Will it be next month? Or the month after? In the worst case, I might have to wait until the next family conference. And have to wait that long, holding back this suffocating feeling. I can't bear it. Hey, Shannon, sorry to ask this out of the blue, but when you made up your mind to do something by the next year, that something wasn't just quitting work as a servant on this island, right? I made the decision to start a new life. I didn't want to keep on being a servant by force of habit. I made the decision to step into a new life and to leave my old life as a servant behind. And Battler promised that he'd come here on the day of your decision, right? Yes. Tact is not one of my strong points, so I shall speak frankly. You made the decision, resolved yourself to starting a new life with Battler, correct? A new life with Battler-san. You were afraid that Battler will not come for you on the day of your decision. However, there is more to that day of decision than just Battler coming to see you. It's also the day for you to show that you're determined to spend the rest of your life with him. This determination is something that you must create for yourself. It won't bear fruit simply because Battler shows up. Shannon, do you now have the determination to spend the rest of your life with him? You decided to put it off until the next family conference because you didn't have that determination last time, right? What does it mean to live life with Battler? Have you ever thought seriously about it in detail? I don't think it'd be very good, probably, at his age. Well, as long as I'm working as a servant on Narkenjima, my opportunities for meeting him are limited. We're both underage, so it's too early to talk about, marriage. However, if I quit working as a servant, I should have many more opportunities to meet him. Once I quit work here, I'll return to the Fukuin house. I have my wages from serving the family, so I should have more than enough to travel to Battler-san's house to play. Usually want to translate this as like hang out, not play, but that's just translator talking. And when I graduate from school, I can rent an apartment near Battler-san's house. Then, well, I can work while going to school. That life would be a lot more difficult than I first thought. However, I'd be able to see Battler-san much more often. If not every day, then every week. I won't be a servant anymore, so there won't be any difference in class. I can call him whenever I want. And I'm already doing both school and work. I guess... Yeah, Battler would be like 12 right now, I think, right? I think he's 18 during the murders? Is Shannon... I think she's probably around the same age, I'm not sure. Maybe 1 year younger, but I don't know. I don't actually know. I'm not sure. So yeah, I guess, like, 11 and 12 is still the age where you'd use the word play, yeah. Thanks to my experience here, I know more than enough to do simple housework. Doesn't that sound like a fun life? You can rent a humble abode, and once you've built up your own home, you can invite Battler over. And then, the time you spend together, the world the two of you make will begin. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Yep, yes, it does sound a bit wonderful. This was the first time I had ever imagined that future clearly. My love for him, and my honest desire to live my life with him. Earlier, I was able to consider both of these deeply. However, now that I'm clearly imagining the future I plan to choose, I finally understand. I must be aware of how much determination will be needed to reach that future. You dream of marriage eventually, don't you? Oh ho! Girls these days, dating with marriage in mind at such a young age. Well, that's a bit, Don't deny your dreams, okay? There's no point in taking the first step if your eyes are closed and you don't look to the future. If a girl's in love with a man, there's nothing wrong with thinking, I want to marry him. That's a young girl's natural right. My face had turned bright red. Earlier, I thought that considering marriage really was a bit premature, so I tried as best as I could to not think about it. However, when the witches encouraged me to imagine it, that image was both exciting and vivid. I felt an indescribable feeling of refreshment and awakening. Like the gentle breeze that washes over you when you go outside during a brief spot of sunshine on a rainy day. That's right, I didn't actually have the determination to go that far. I need to strengthen my determination by the time the next family conference comes around. If I can't do that, then sticking around as a servant on this island is no more than I deserve. And at the same time, this is also a trial. True, a trial to be overcome. A trial? Why is that? Fool. Battler promised that he would come for you at the next family conference, did he not? He said he'd come on a white horse, right? Yes. You're thinking that Battler will not come anymore. In other words, you have no faith in Battler's promise. That's why this is a trial. To pass through this trial, you'll have to show that you can trust him and wait. She's, being set up for some serious hurt. A trial. I hadn't thought of it that way. Since he promised to come for me in a year, then I need to believe that he'll come for me in a year. If I doubt that, I don't have the right to wait for him in the first place. These are really serious thoughts for like a 12-year-old. In fact, Battler might have left the Ushimina family because he set his sights on a future with you. Oh, why would that be? If he knows that you'll live together and eventually exchange marriage vows, having the name Ushimiya would cause problems since Shannon is a servant of the Ushimina family. Ah, I see. He realizes that there'll be all kinds of trouble if he decides to marry a servant girl, so he's abandoned the Ushimina name beforehand. What do you think, Shannon? That way, everything makes sense. Battler has abandoned the Ushimina name for your sake. This sudden argument with Rudolph was just an excuse. What splendid reasoning. Nice going, Liche. Wahaha. What do you say, Shannon? There's no reason to feel down. On the contrary, it's as though Battler has shown his determination first. We sure are getting a lot of Shannon and Beatrice's backstory, aren't we? Strange that. A smile had finally returned to my face. Of course, I hadn't taken the witches seriously and let myself be reassured. It was closer to the opposite. It was almost funny that they could think up such ridiculously convenient explanations for everything. What was the reason exactly for Claire starting again? I think it was basically just like explaining Beatrice's motives. I think that's what this play was for, right? I think that's the premise that it began on. So do keep that in mind. However, they had made all those ridiculous theories to cheer me up. The witches are right when they say that I must trust Battler-san, and that there's no point moping about just because I've heard a few rumors. Until the next family conference, I intend to strengthen my resolve. And I believe that he'll accept my feelings and come for me. Have I asked this before? I don't know. Is Syconia finished? Have they done all 8 VNs, assuming that's what Yukishi 7's doing? Like, I do want to eventually read Syconia on stream. I don't know a thing about it. No? Aw. Maybe I'll wait for it to be finished. Oh. How much of it is done? He's still working on it, right? Like, he hasn't abandoned it or something? Surely. I don't see him as the kind of author to really do that. He doesn't strike me as that kind of author. The idea that Battler left the family so that he could be married to me someday was laughable, of course. But right now, I should try and feel confident enough to accept even crazy ideas like that. Thanks so much. I feel a little better now. That as well. I cannot stand watching you cry yourself to sleep. Thanks for coming into my dreams to encourage me. Indeed. It will be morning soon. This is all a dream. You won't remember any of it when you wake. However, your heart will be at peace. Yes. I'll believe in him and wait. So I won't listen to every little rumor. Very good. Wait until the next conference while improving yourself. If you think of it as training to become a wife, all of your everyday chores will grow more meaningful. Thanks a lot. Liche, it'll be morning soon. Is that so? So nanoka. Then so long, Shannon. You may not remember me, but I will always be by your side watching over you. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Yasu in my dreams. Only the first chapter? Wait, what? No, no way. Hold on. That can't be. That can't be. So you mean like the first episode, or do you mean the first 4 episodes? Hold on, I need to go look at this. I need to go look on VNDB. Let me see here. Syconia. It really is just the first one? Phase 1, which I guess is episode 1. No way. It's 2019? It's 6 years and he hasn't done another one. So it's just, I assume, on a cliffhanger, or just... I guess Umineko episode 1. It kind of ends on a cliffhanger. I don't know. Umineko's weird with its episode endings. It's not like Delta or something. And after that came Umineko Saku. What is Genso Rogoku no Kaleidoscope? I've heard of this. He probably helped to write for this, but I don't think it's like his story. I guess he did the scenario. I've never heard of this. It doesn't have his art, so it's not that appealing to me. It's not a When They Cry game. It has to have Yukishi 7's art for me to really want to read it, I think. Yeah. I hope he picks it back up eventually. I don't know. I guess I'm not gonna read the first episode. I don't want to, like, read it. It's not even close to being done. Oh well. Maybe he'll go back to it eventually. The next family conference will be here in a flash. Wait for it at your leisure. Battler will certainly keep his promise. I guess that's why I haven't really heard anyone talking about Syconia, huh? I just figured, you know, it was like quietly, you know, getting completed bit by bit every year or two. And that by the time I eventually got to it, it would be done. But no, that is the exact opposite. That's a shame. Pleased to meet you. My name is Kirie. I hope we can all become quick friends. I've known your name longer than I've known Asumu-san's. I hear you're Rudolph's old girlfriend. Yes, we've known each other for quite a long time. Welcome to the Yoshimita family. I hope you find it easy to grow comfortable here. Yes, I like to grow comfortable quickly so that I can support my husband. But look at how cute that little girl is. What's her name? This is Anji-chan. What a cute name. So you two couldn't make up after all. I thought this would be the perfect chance to bring him back, but he's as stubborn as Dad. Will Battler never come back? I'll miss him. Nothing wrong with a man having enough backbone to find his own way in the world. I'm sure he'll have made it big by the time he comes back. You think so? Right now, Battler's home isn't home for him. The place he comes home to is somewhere else now. Enough. This concerns Rudolph's family only. It is not our place to meddle. Oh, everyone here does love meddling. Thank you, Krasny-san. This is an issue for our family alone. However, I intend to do all I can to see that Battler-kun and Rudolph-san can live together again someday. After all, he's Anji's one and only big brother. Yep. When that kid gets stuck on something, anything you say to him will have the opposite effect. Asumi's father is a bit of a short temper. Looks like he's been adding fuel to the fire. It'll be okay. I'm sure he'll understand your feelings before too long. We can't do anything except cheer you on. Even if he doesn't come back, we're all praying that the two of you will make up quickly. That was Hideyoshi. It's a bit boring without Battler. Yeah, I hope you and Uncle Rudolph can make up soon. Thinking about how Battler-sama feels, it must have hurt. His family basically got swapped around. It probably doesn't feel comfortable at home anymore. All men need to go out on their own one day or another. It might just be that Battler-kun's time has come. Do you think so? I do. It's not cool for a guy to hang around his parents for too long. He's 13. He's like 12 or 13 at this point. You've got to leave the nest in a flurry and make your name in the world. Not at 12 or 13. I plan to do that eventually, but it looks like he's gone and done it first. And when he makes his name in the world and becomes a great man, will he come back? It may be that he never comes back. After all, this might be leaving the nest to him. Leaving the nest. Battler didn't come, did he? Oh, how terrible. And I kept telling Shannon that he was sure to come. I'm sure she's very upset over Battler's absence. And it's all because I got her hopes up. She's been looking forward to this day. It pains me to think of how she must feel. Thanks, you two. I'm okay. I've been reunited with the witches once again in that dream world. Though I could never remember anything during the day, now that I was in the dream world, I somehow knew that this was a reunion. The witches both looked apologetic. Though they had tried to cheer me up by saying that Battler would come today, now that he hadn't come, it was like they'd been lying, and they seemed to regret it heavily. Shannon, well... Thanks for your concern. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't sad, but I'll be okay. Are you sure? Really sure? That would be splendid, but... Clearly, Battler's fight was so over the top that he couldn't bring himself to back down so soon. Men are so stubborn. Yes, that is true. He tried to act tough before running away, so his stubbornness is preventing him from taking back what he said so easily. He'll probably regret not coming today. Yes, that must be it. For some reason, they seemed nearly desperate in their attempts to encourage me. It was almost funny to watch. I couldn't help but giggle. Thanks a lot, both of you. After all, you're the ones who told me in the first place that this is a test, a trial to be overcome. The truth was, I couldn't really fool myself so easily. When will he come back? When will he come for me? When isn't the question. Will he come for me? Ever? If I start moping right now, the uncertainty and sadness will probably tear me apart. But they've taught me. This is a trial to see whether I really believe in him or not. The very fact that I feel uncertain and anxious is a betrayal of my resolve, and of his promise to come for me someday. George-sama said something about it. He said that this might be the same as leaving the nest for Battler-san. That's right. This is his chance to leave behind the Ushimina name and spread his wings as his own man. If you really think about it, we're still very young. Even if we want to be tied together, we're still lacking many years of social experience and trust. If Battler-san is really and truly taking this seriously, then it's too soon for him to come for me now. It's chance to be a big shot. Well done. Yes, that's the right attitude. You've done well to reach this understanding. I haven't reached anything. However, I've decided to think of it that way for now. This is a trial to see whether I trust Battler-san or not. If he had come today, then today I would have had to tell Madam that I wanted to quit my job as a servant. However, was I really prepared to do that? Last night, I kept worrying about whether Battler-san would come or not. Thanks to that, Not only did I not have the resolve to quit my job, I hadn't even started on the paperwork to do so. In short, I still don't have the determination that I promised him that day. I'm sure that God knew that. Battler will come for me when I've found my determination. I wasn't determined, so it's only natural that he didn't come today. Yeah, it all makes sense now. So, I'm sure Battler's-san didn't come today because I wasn't determined enough. It's only natural, since I couldn't even truly believe that he would come. I'm sure Battler was the same way. He did not yet have the determination and resolve to come for you. God is not heartless. When your feelings truly do draw close, I'm sure they'll bring the two of you together. Just like Orihime and Hikoboshi. Yes, it's as though the weather just happened to be bad during this year's Tanabata, keeping those lovers apart for another year. That's how I'd like to think about what happened today. That's how I'd like to think about it. I have no other choice. Oh, I tuft my... Oh, it's not a tuft of hair, it's a thing off the headphones. I'm seeing like black on the one of my eye. I really gotta get new cups for these headphones sometime. Just like the actual cups, they're like really ratty and dirty and not in great shape anymore. They work fine though. They're still just as comfortable, I guess, but I've worn these for like tens of thousands of hours at this point, probably. Or thousands, I don't know how many hours are in months and years or whatnot, but a long time. I've had these for years now. Battler-san. I've changed mics like 3 times with these. I actually used to have a wireless mic attached to the side of these, but I've switched since then to proper wired mics. Is it molded to my head yet? More like it started to grow mold. But Battler didn't come back for 6 years. Still a long way to go until then. So you had to wait 6 whole years feeling like that? Well, it's Shanna that had to wait, not Claire, right? When one waits every year for something to happen the next, and then the same thing the next year and the next, it becomes the same as waiting for an eternity. Pretty pathetic, don't you think? After all, this promise you thought you made by the Battler seems to be something he knew nothing about, right? Yeah, Shanna's naturally not in this room, funny enough. Battler-kun does tend to use melodramatic phrases, just like Uncle Rudolph. Uncle Scrooge. His roundabout way of putting things might have led to a misunderstanding. Some girl's gonna stab Battler in the back someday. Well, I guess that's more or less what this tale is. When words can mean different things, they can turn a person's life upside down. There are times when Carol's talk costs lives. Hopefully someone's pieced together what this tale is trying to tell you. It's a little bit abstract about it, but sometimes it's more direct than other times. The game never really outright says it, so I don't really want to say it outright either. Chapter 7, Sprout of Love, Root of Love. We're almost at the end. We're almost at the end. It looks kind of like Japanese on the left, but I don't think you can actually read it. Definitely wouldn't want to typeset that. 4 years remain. Seriously, why do guys turn into total morons when they get together? Jessica's room was filled with laughter. It was one hell of a reality check. I thought this guy was a bit cool, a bit adult-like. And then I see him with some of the other guys in our class talking about dirty stuff with his creepy laugh. It's true that boys always act like little kids when they're together. Well, it's not like girls are any different. The fun chat between girls continued without end. Tonight, Kraus and Natsu were out late at a meeting on Nijima. Most of the time, Natsu was always watching, so Jessica would always make sure to be curt with the young servants. But when Natsu wasn't around, Jessica never did that. She had invited the servants of similar age to her room, and they were chatting away noisily. At that age, everyone wants to know about love. Thanks to the rigid and constricting way Jessica had been brought up, she enjoyed talking about it all the more. But you're pretty incredible, my lady, and you're that age. Are there any boys you're interested in? Well, I'd like to fall in love, but there really aren't any good ones around. I think you should be a bit more proactive about it. You can act all relaxed now, but that's not going to last long, okay? Once one of your friends starts going out with someone, it'll turn your world upside down. There's no way that'll happen. None of my friends are traitors. I think. Ah, no, no, no. The outbreak of love is the one time you can't rely on friendship between girls. If you met someone you liked, you'd betray your friends and go out with a guy without a second thought, wouldn't you? But what about you, Shannon? It's not fair if I'm the only one who has to talk. I, don't have anyone like that around. Not around. He's far, far away. And like Orihime and Hikiboshi? Isn't it? Hikoboshi? Yes, it's supposed to be Hikoboshi. Okay. Oops. Oops. I don't get to see him very often. In fact, I don't even know when I'll be able to see him again. However, I believe that he'll come for me someday. I believe it. Don't you betray me, okay, Shannon? If we get boyfriends, we'll get them together. You got that? Right? Right? You promised, right? Well, you might not believe it, but it's not at all rare for girls just like Shannon-chan to get a head start. What do you mean, girls like Shannon? What do you mean? Shannon, confess. You aren't going out with anyone, are you? You aren't, right? I'm not, really. Really? Really? We'll get boyfriends together, okay? No matter what happens, okay? Anyone who lies has to eat porcupine fish. That is such a weird thing to, like, want to start dating at the same time as your friends. Like, turn people down if your friends aren't dating yet. Or whatever, I don't know. This is such a weird, like, thing. Toxic. Yes, I promise. Yeah, I mean, I don't think people usually say porcupine fish. I think usually puffer fish, or maybe something else, I'm not sure. Yeah, they are. Maybe there's, like, technically a difference, I don't know. I don't know, like, fish genuses. But if it doesn't matter, you could also just say puffer fish. I don't know. Now there is the face of a liar. I'm willing to bet Shannon-chan beats everyone else in this room. I can tell. It's always the quiet ones that go first. Shannon, how could you? Confess, confess. But please stop, my lady. That tickles. How does this random servant girl know all this stuff? What, has she just been watching Disney Channel movies her whole life or something? Where'd she get this knowledge from? She's the same age as everyone else in the room. And so, another Sunday afternoon passed by. I worked my way out of the fight and looked up at the sky through the window. Is Battler-san happily chatting away with his friends somewhere right now, just like I am? As I think of you like this, are you thinking of me? But if I ask that, it's the same as admitting that I don't trust you. I'll wait. And when you do come for me, I'll announce then and there that I'm quitting my job. I've already prepared myself to do so. But you haven't come yet. That isn't because you won't come, but because I'm not determined enough yet, right? It's because I haven't clearly envisioned a future with you, right? I'll wait, no matter how long. Until you come for me, riding a white horse. I will always treasure a promise. The promise of a precious resolve. Imagine Battler, like, having a horse on the boat. Never make a promise with a guy. You can't count on them. Thinking that she had read my mind, I spun around. Of course she hadn't, but this servant is never going to find happiness. Can't trust people. Well, for stuff like that, I think guys and girls have different ideas of what's important. No, that's not it. You've got it all wrong. On the whole, girls tend to be dreamers, and guys just do stuff without thinking. That is absolutely not true. She is like spouting so many toxic ideals. I guess understanding between the sexes is pretty much impossible after all. At least I think it's pretty hard. Girls often have the bad habit of thinking they know exactly what the guy is thinking right away. They search for hidden meanings behind words that guys say for no reason in particular, and just get the wrong idea. Ah yeah, I've known girls like that. Those girls who hear something that anyone else could tell them was trivial, but think it means the guy is totally into them. Yeah, I see it all the time. It's a bit sad when a girl gets the wrong idea for no reason. The pair of them laugh together. When a girl gets the wrong idea. Could that be me? No, that can't be. After all, Battler-san clearly made a promise. He said he'd come for me riding a white horse. I mustn't doubt. I'm sure this conversation I'm hearing is just another one of God's trials. So I won't listen. I won't care about it. If there's one thing I never want to be, it's one of those poor girls who thinks a guy's heart is linked to hers for no reason. Those demonic sneers tormented me and tried to lead me astray. I'm sure he'll come to the next family conference. Hopes too high. But Battler-san didn't appear at the 1982 conference either. Bit by bit, things were changing from the way they'd been at the last family conference he'd come to. Everyone had gotten completely used to Kiria-sama, Rudolph-sama's new wife, and she came down off the boat with a familiar stride. Her daughter, Anji-sama, was growing well, and all the family focused their attention on her. Even Maria-sama, though she was still tiny, was already 5 years old. She was full of energy and old enough to enjoy playing with George-sama. Jessica-sama and George-sama had already stopped talking about Battler-san's absence. It was the same with the other relatives too. No one touched on the subject, as though they had forgotten that Battler-san was missing. Maria-sama had only been 3 when she'd last seen Battler-san. It was doubtful whether she even remembered him. In just 2 years, all trace of your existence has been erased from the Ushimita family conference. That made me sad. And so it looks like Battler-san didn't come back this year either. True. Feeling a bit lonely? Well, Uncle Rudolph and Aunt Kitty don't even bring him up anymore. Looks like Battler-kun was much more serious about it than we thought. I wonder if he really will stay away forever. It looks like that was him leaving the nest after all. He spread his wings and left for a new stage of life. Don't you think so? He's always been crazy and reckless. Well, what more do you expect from a guy? Well, we know Battler-kun. I'm sure he's adapted to his new life and is enjoying himself. So I don't think there's any reason to worry. When George-sama said that with a smile, I felt a bit uncertain. What does he mean by, there's no reason to worry? I'm sure he's enjoying himself. This is Battler we're talking about, so you can bet he's forgotten all about us and is having a great time. Yeah, I'll bet he is. And I think that's for the best. Thinking for himself, his family, and his late mother, Battler-kun decided on his own to find a new life. So I hope he lives that new life to the fullest. If he forgets about the Ushimita family, that's just perfect. George-sama smiled at me, as though expecting me to agree. After a moment of shock, I smoothed my expression over and found the expression he was expecting. Is Battler-san living happily? Having forgotten about the family, about me, about our promise? That can't be true. It just can't be. Battler-san must be looking forward to that day of decision just like me. I'm not mistaken about that. He promised me. He said he'd come riding a white horse. I never asked him to say that. He said he'd come for me on the day I resolved myself to live life for his sake. He made that promise himself. For 2 years, I believed that. I've done all I could to make it through God's trials and the whisperings of demons that tried to throw me from my path. And yet, the things both George-sama and Jessica-sama are saying are so cruel. Battler-san has forgotten about us and has started a new life. Why are they telling such lies? But that night, I dreamed of Battler-san for the first time in a long while. The Battler-san in my dream wasn't the Battler-san I believed in. It was the Battler-san that George-sama and Jessica-sama had spoken of. The one who had forgotten everything and started a new life. Morning. I woke up with a tear-stained face. The face I saw in the mirror cried and told me it couldn't wait any longer. If I managed to wait this long, why can't I wait any longer? This is a trial, so we must believe in him and wait. But the me in the mirror spoke. It was sharper than a fragment of glass. I talk about this promise with him, but did we ever really make such a promise? Wasn't Jessica-sama talking about it? That some girls are dreamers who get the wrong idea? And wasn't George-sama talking about it too? He said that Battler-san had gotten used to his new life and had forgotten about the Ushimita family. And by now, he isn't the only one who's forgotten. Unless I ask about it, everyone on this island has forgotten his name. Even Rudolph-sama doesn't say his name anymore. If I weren't here to remember his face, perhaps his existence would have been erased from everyone's hearts. If a Battler leaves the Ushimita family and no one is around to remember him, does he still exist? I don't believe it. Schrodinger's cousin. So I won't doubt. Battler-san must still remember his promise. We're both waiting for the day of decision, the day we'll be together. Battler-san, I firmly made up my mind. Does the fact that you're not here mean that, after all, I'm not determined enough? No. It's because you and God are testing me, isn't it? In that case, I will endure, until that promised day inevitably comes. So please, Battler-san, I want some proof that you haven't forgotten me. It was the crack that ran across my ceramic-like heart. I do acknowledge it now. It may be that I'm pretending not to notice something terrifying and sad. Battler-san makes me yearn for him. Battler-san makes me sad. Battler-san makes it hurt. Battler-san, do you still remember me now? You have hurt Shannon 10 times. We're really going year by year through the 6-year period, aren't we? 3 years until the incident. And then came the third family conference since Battler-san left. If the number of beds was going to increase, we would have been told about that one setting up. The fact that nothing's changed in particular means that he probably won't be here this year either. Clinging to a final bit of hope, I stood by the docks, watching the boat draw closer. Hey, Shannon-chan, you look as pretty as ever. Careful, Angie. Watch your step. Hey, Shannon, I really do love Rakenjima. I can't wait for Uncle Cross to turn it into a resort. There's no need for that. It'd be such a waste. Yeah, you've got a point there. How have you been, Shan-chan? I think you've got a bit taller since last time. Thank you very much. And the weather's good again this year. It's so great having every single member of the family together all nice and cheerful. Please allow me to guide you to the mansion. So, after all, Battler-san has been so thoroughly forgotten that he might have not existed in the first place. I'm sure the sadness will show on my face. Not wanting anyone to see it, I turned my back to the family and led the way up to the mansion by myself. Then, suddenly, someone mentioned Battler-san's name, and I jumped. What? You saw Battler-kun? How's he doing? He's doing very well. I took Angie and had some tea with him the other day. I was surprised. So, Kide-san was in touch with Battler-san. According to her, both Battler-san and Rudolph-sama had long since calmed down after the fight, but both were so stubborn that they hadn't found a good chance to make up. And since Battler-san had gotten used to living with his grandparents and going to school there, and considering that those grandparents might make things even more difficult, going to convince Battler-san to come home wouldn't be easy. It's just too bad. I think Asuma-san's parents were even more angry than Battler-kun was. This isn't just an issue between Battler-kun and Rudolph-san anymore. Then will Battler be coming back sometime soon? He will make up with Rudolph-san, but it looks like he doesn't intend to return to the Ushimina family. Such a shame, though I do understand how he feels. It was a bit of a relief to hear that some of the bad feeling had died down in these 3 years. If we take Asuma-sama's parents into account, it's no surprise that things haven't gone as well as they could. But if Battler-san doesn't hate Rudolph-sama anymore, then someday, surely he'll come back. He'll have grown so much. My resolve will not waver anymore. Just use that servant money to hire assassins to take out the grandparents. For some nights these past 3 years, I felt sad and resentful. But now, it feels as though those 3 years were something I needed. After all, the seeds of love, the faint feelings I once had for you, had budded powerfully, waiting for the day that will be reunited. This is how honest my feelings for you are now. I love you. I want to see you again as soon as I can. Until that time, I'll keep that bud of love warm and growing for you. I won't doubt the coming of that day anymore. Just as I think of you under the same sky, I believe that you were thinking of me. I'm sure this news about him is a sign that God is cheering me on. So I asked God one more time inside my heart. Since my feelings for Battler-san have not wavered for a day these past 3 years, let me know that he feels the same way. I know that asking for that is a sin. However, now that we've reached a 3-year turning point, I want some gift from God, any gift, to show that I have not waited in vain. That is what I prayed. Oh, that's right. It's been so long since Battler-kun last saw you all, right? I thought you might be feeling lonely, so I told him to write you letters. Here they are. Huh? Did God really hear my prayers? I felt as though my heart was going to leap out of my chest. A letter from Battler? Awesome. What do you write? Did he say anything about how he's been doing lately? I can't wait to read it. Kide-sama pulled a brown envelope out of her bag and handed it to George-sama. Just one? When George-sama opened it, several folded letters came out. Looks like this one's addressed to me. Oh no, they all have different names on them. Here, this one's yours, Jessica-chan. Thanks. And this one's from Arya-chan. Can she read yet? I'll read it to her later. Thank you. There's even one for Angie-chan. Of course she can't read. I'll give it to her when she does learn. He says he's doing great and having a blast. Good for him. Oof. Is that all of them? Yep. Looks like that's all of them. Thanks a lot. Oh, Battler. What have you done? George-sama handed me the empty envelope. Apparently, he thanked me because he thought I was offering to throw it away for him. And clearly, there was nothing inside it. There was no letter for me. I was kind of a dreamer, like, in my young teenage years, too. I was pretty much as bad as Shannon, honestly. Whoa. The more I read, the more fun it looks like Battler-kun's been having. Living every day to the fullest. That's what it looks like in mine, too. If he's happy, then I guess that's what counts. That's so mean of Battler-kun. Sounds like he forgot about us until you told him to write these letters, Kiria-san. Well, you know what he's like. It sounds like he was living life to the fullest. And he's popular with the ladies at school, too. Wow, that's incredible. There should be plenty of girls who like those hilarious, melodramatic lines of his. Makes sense to me. I wonder if he really does plan not to return to the Ushimita family. It looks like it. In mine, it says he doesn't think he'll return to Rakenjima again. I knew that all of these letters were trials from God. The fact that there was no letter from me, and the fact that he was enjoying life and had forgotten about Rakenjima, were just more trials. God is testing me. The fact that there was no letter from me alone is proof of that. That's what I want to think. But now it's just too much. It might have been an important promise to you, but it looks like it wasn't for Battler. No way. Then that promise about him coming for you was... I was a dreamer. It was an illusion I created. To Battler, they were probably just meaningless words to make him sound cool. So interesting that Claire's talking like she was Shannon. But it's the same graphic that we used for Yasu. What does it mean? To anyone but her, it would have been such a funny story to hear. Their promise with Battler might have been an illusion the whole time. In the first place, we don't know if they both felt the same way about each other at all. Love is an illusion. However, if both sides are seeing the same illusion, that love becomes true. However, when the feelings of each side are different, then it's nothing more than a joke. This is Battler's sin. It is Battler's sin. Making Shannon think that it was a promise. Wrong. Huh? It's that he didn't even remember. Remember way back in episode 4? When Beatrice was quizzing Battler about his sin? Here it is. It's the fact that he forgore. If he simply broke his promise, I could have taken him to task for it. I could have regretted my mistake, or I could have won him back. However, you can't question someone about something they don't even remember. I'm unable to hate Battler-san. After all, Battler-san didn't even break his promise. There just wasn't any promise to start with. It was nothing more than a sad joke. I kept on crying and crying. I dug my fingernails into my pillow, soaking it with my tears. Good thing that Shannon has a room all to herself. How much easier it would be to hate something. But I can't hate anything. I just couldn't get over my miserable arrogance. Which has led me to believe for 3 whole years that he felt the same as I did. I am to blame for this. My irresponsible words led you to believe that Battler made a promise. No, this isn't anyone's fault. It's all because I assumed that he felt the same way I did. Battler made no promise, and yet his feelings were surely sincere. Though there might have been a difference in degree when compared to yours, it is true that he liked you. Of that there can be no doubt. Please, just stop it. I believe that he liked me the way I liked him, without ever doubting that. Please don't try to cheer me up. I'd rather that you mocked me. Before I knew it, a dull, inescapable pain had pierced my chest. When I pressed my hand against my chest, I realized what the pain was. It was the bud of love, whose seeds I had sown and nurtured in my heart. Its roots had spread all the way across my chest, tormenting me like a metal wire wrapped around my heart. They looked less like roots, and more like fissures running through my heart. I could only hold back the pain by tearing out the root of love. But no matter how much I scratch at it, I'm only scratching at my chest. The root of love doesn't move at all. If I started hating Battler-san without any lingering interest or regrets, I'd be able to pull this root out easily. Once I did, it would probably leave a hole behind, but at least it wouldn't hurt me anymore. But I can't pull it out. Even though it hurts so much, those roots of love are still stuck in my heart. Shannon. Even now, I love Battler-san. I want to see him. I want him to come back. I believe he'll come back someday, and I want to wait for him. But right now, it's just too much. As I sobbed, the tightness in my chest grew even stronger. As long as I like Battler-san, that pain will always continue. Because I like him, I want to hold on to that pain forever. But it was written right there in the letters for George-sama and the others. Battler doesn't plan on returning to the Ushimita family. He's forgotten about me and Rakenjima, and has started a new life with a different name. I must wait for him for all eternity. The despite how painful, aching, excruciating this is. Claire's making the silly Beatrice mouth. I like that one. Is this another trial? Is God telling me to wait for him forever? I can't do that. I want to be with Battler-san. But if this is a trial that I must go through for that, then it's just too painful. Beatrice hung her head in shame. If she hadn't... Right, but Beatrice, not Claire. Whatever. Or Yasu. Whoever you want to call, whatever. Everyone's Beatrice. Okay? If she hadn't encouraged Shannon so much, it probably wouldn't have been this painful. Shannon may have been the one to sow the seed of love in her heart. However, Beatrice had irresponsibly watered it and told Shannon not to give up. Beatrice scratched at her chest, trying to share Shannon's pain. This is my fault. Beatrice mumbled to herself. What's your fault? For 3 years, I tortured you with the illusion of a promise that never happened. If I had not nourished the bud of love within you, you would have not suffered so. There's definitely enough Beatrice to go around for everyone. The whole class gets Beatrice. I brought enough. Shannon, this may sound harsh, but listen. What is it? Forget Battler. There was no bud of love in the first place. No, I'm the one who nourished it. No matter how painful it is, I can't forget it. But you cannot bear that pain any longer, can you? Wordlessly, Shannon held her chest and hung her head. I love Battler. That feeling burns inside me, so that I still cannot let it go, no matter how much it hurts. And I've spent 3 years pretending that I didn't feel that pain. Now, I know that I felt it. And since I know, I can't bear it. So, you cannot throw away your bud of love for Battler. Yes. However, at this rate, the bud, the root, will kill you. People need a universe to survive. And one person cannot create that universe alone. 2 are needed. What language is this song even in? A universe. Together with Battler, you created the universe of that bud of love. Now that one half of that pair is gone, your universe has crumbled. People cannot complete a universe on their own. However, Battler-san, the other person who creates my universe, won't come back. Then you must create a new universe with someone else. You mean, create one with someone other than Battler-san? I will give you such a person. Which person? A creature to bury the pain in your heart and heal you. He will not betray you. Yes, let it be a sibling. I'll give you a little brother. A little brother. A boy you have always been close to at the Fukuin house, whom you love as if he were your real brother. That I shall give to you. Together with him, you will create a new universe. Will that little brother make me forget about the pain of my love for Battler-san? Correct. You need a universe. Then, what will happen to the bud of love in my heart? My feelings for Battler-san won't change. I can't make them wither. I shall accept that bud and those roots in your place. You will? You can forget the pain of love and create a new universe. I will accept the bud of love in your place. It means that I will accept the pain as well, but I will learn of the single element I do not possess. Love. Beatrice wanted to know love. She wanted to feel what Shannon had felt in the world of humans. And, if Battler ever does return, if the bud still is not withered and you still desire it, I shall return it to you. What do you think of that? Still hanging her head, Shannon gave a small nod, but said nothing. It would mean a release from this unbearable pain, and it would mean giving the bud of love to the witch to hold in her place. Shannon spread the hands that she had held to her chest. As she did, a faint light popped out of her chest and floated in the air, gradually swallowing everything with its brightness. I don't really know if I should, help explain what's going on or just let people interpret it. I'm a little bit torn on that. I'll keep reading a bit more for now. Either way. As the brilliant light began to fade away, Shannon and Beatrice, still facing each other, were now inside a vast, starry sphere like a planetarium. I know that you already know everything real. You spoiled yourself. You understand. Even though you haven't seen parts of the end. They were the only ones in this pitch-black starry sea. Shannon felt as though she'd seen this place once before, but she couldn't remember. Then I made another announcement. Modify this world. Let the bud of love travel from Shannon to Beatrice. This way, Shannon won't be tormented by the bud of love anymore. And furthermore, she'll be given a little brother, with whom she can create a new universe. The design for the little brother will be a younger boy at the food greenhouse, with whom Shannon was close. For a name, let it be the On character, as the food greenhouse rules state. Yeah, I've decided. That's a perfect name to go with Shannon's. He'll be a quiet... reticent? I don't know that word. Reticent. Reticent with a spin of vocabulary. Not revealing one's thoughts or feelings readily, so like reserved. Okay, he'll be a quiet, reticent boy. Toothpaste boy. He'll come to Rakenjima as a new servant. There, he'll open his heart to Shannon. As a duty-minded boy, he'll love Shannon like a big sister. He'll always be there for her. Let's have him be a special servant like Genji, who's permitted to serve Kinzo directly. Yeah, that sounds kinda cool. I don't think I have, at least not in a long time. I don't think I've ever had to read it out loud, at least. Then, Beatrice. From now on, you will carry the bud of love. In other words, the role of being infatuated with Battler and waiting for his return will go to you. While you are still the witch who reigns over Rakenjima's night, you have also been waiting for Ushidame and Battler ever since that day 3 years ago. Along with this change in setting, I'll give you a new form as well. He did tell us what his ideal woman would look like once. Remember? A woman with a good figure and long golden hair like a foreign model. Golden hair, long hair, a good figure. Yeah, something like that. That's what the new Beatrice will look like. Maybe without the schoolgirl outfit, though. Come now, hold the bud of love in your heart as you wait for Battler. This way, you will learn of love in exchange for earning pain. Yes, this will be the setting for my new world. For Shannon, a new servant like a little brother will come. He will be a silent, reticent boy, a duty-minded kid who loves Shannon as a sister. And the bud of love that's tortured Shannon will go to the witch, Beatrice. She'll just be holding on to the bud of love for the time being. However, while she holds on to it, she will be a maiden in love with Battler. For that time, you will be able to learn what love is. Come, let the world be modified. Oh, I am one yet many. Awaken, us, and stretch your wings in this new world. Should I just say it outright? Slowly, I open my eyes to the gentle rays of the morning sun. How long has it been since I last saw such a pleasant morning? The face in my mirror is tear-stained and pathetic. However, my heart is as clear as the morning sun. I can still clearly remember that strange dream. However, I can feel myself forgetting it rapidly. The place I was in my dreams had been such a strange place. A peaceful, calm place. There, I had left behind the pain I had carried in my chest until yesterday. So this morning, my heart was at peace. Good morning, me. My tear-stained face really is pathetic. However, my expression is bright and cheery. Even now, I like Battler-san. But for some reason, I've calmed down. It feels like I've put something precious safely away in the place it belongs. Battler-san, when will you come back, I wonder? When you do, I'd like to talk about mystery novels again. Oh, I almost forgot. A new boy servant will be coming today, right? One of the rare servants who will serve the master directly. What kind of kid would he be? I hope we get along well. What was his name again? I'm pretty sure it was, I think we all know the name. One year later. I think we're nearing the end of Claire's performance. 2 years until the incident. 1984. Men in work clothes were spreading a tarp over a section of the hall. From the way they measured the wall and set up tools, it could be seen that they were planning some sort of construction project. This is of the utmost importance to the master. Be sure that you do not damage it. The president of the construction company nodded his head several times to show that he understood. Then 6 young workers carried in a large rectangular object wrapped in a white sheet. Okay, careful there. Set it down gently. I said gently. Is this the spot? Great, let's get started. Apparently, they were putting something large onto the wall of the hall. He plans to hang that thing here? That's what he wants. After all, this mansion is little more than one of Father's toys. Natsu took a deep breath. Though this was a whim of Kinzo's, a man she greatly respected, she seemed to resist the idea of hanging right here in the entrance hall, the face of the mansion. No, it's pure aesthetics. I would definitely hang this like right where guests could see it. When the white sheet was pulled off, a Western woman wearing a beautiful dress came into view. It was a massive portrait of a woman. Is it proceeding well? Yes. They will be finished by this evening. I would like to see it hanging there for all to see as soon as possible. I want you overseeing this, my friend. Leave it to me. Father, it seems a splendid portrait. Indeed, quite exceptional quality. I am satisfied. This is your benefactor, the woman who gave you the gold, right? Indeed. If I had not met Beatrice, I would not be here, nor would the Ushida family, nor would, of course, this mansion. It's only natural that her portrait be displayed in the best possible location. Now that he had said it this bluntly, there would be no contradicting him. Cross and Natsu could only shrug. Master, the epitaph plate is here. Would you please check to see that all is in order? Indeed. Each and every word must be correct. Epitaph. Cross and Natsu crooked their heads and followed Kinzo. The leader of the workers set down a plate, covered it, and wrapped in a sheet, making a board here. The others thought that the picture's name and description might be on it, but it seemed to have quite a lot of words for that. Father, what is this? Behold, the Sweetfish River running through my hometown? Read and interpret it as you like. So we finally reached the appearance of the epitaph in the portrait. It's only 2 years before the incident. I don't know much about this epitaph. It doesn't exist in my world. Probably not. In your world, there's already a clear successor, you. But not in this world. In other words, this epitaph was set up to choose grandfather's successor after all? Most likely. Or he might have wanted to believe in the chance of a miracle. A difficult riddle made so that no one would be able to solve it. If someone actually could solve it, they themselves would be a miracle. Perhaps that miracle would guide the person Kinzo most wanted to solve it. In short, this epitaph really does depict a ceremony to revive the witch, Beatrice, just as everyone thought. That does seem to be the obvious interpretation. A mysterious ceremony, sacrificing 13 people to revive the witch. However, the true ceremony wasn't that. It lies in wait for someone to miraculously solve it. That is the true ceremony. However, fate does have its irony. Genji already knew. Maybe Kinzo set this up in the first place because he guessed that Genji knew everything. Was that fate a coincidence or something planned? I do not know. However, with this epitaph, the witch Beatrice will revive in the true sense. Chapter 8. Journey to the Golden Land. Chapter 8. We're almost there. We're gonna make it. I'm yawning, not cheering, by the way. Well, I'm stretching. Stretching and yawning often go together. And I guess this time they did. Help me, Marina. This is Beatrice. My soul was captured by the woman shown in that massive portrait. That might have been literally true. Or rather than captured, perhaps it would be better to say that my soul had returned to a more fitting place. The place it belonged. The beautiful blonde hair was the same as mine, but tied up. The dress she wore was a deep black, making that golden hair stand out all the more. I guess it's a funny coincidence that, this made-up Beatrice persona resembled, the second Beatrice, you know, the one that fell off the cliff and died. Well, I guess there's technically two Beatrices that fell off a cliff and died. One was not thrown off. Anyway, the one that tripped and fell, the adult Beatrice that Rosa saw. Kind of a funny coincidence. I wonder what would have happened if Butler was into blondes. This is the witch, Beatrice. My true form. What is this? It was a plate with too many words for it to be the title of the picture. Behold the Sweetfish River running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the Golden Land, follow its path downstream in search of the key. The Golden Land? I see, so my world is the Golden Land. I've always called my own personal world a paradise, but tonight I shall change that. From now on, my world shall be the Golden Land. I am the master of the Golden Land, Beatrice. And then there's the brutal ceremony of sacrifices, starting on the first twilight. On the 9th twilight, the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive. If you carry out the ceremony, will I revive in the truest sense? Then, on the 10th twilight, at Journey's End, you shall attain to the power of the Golden Land's treasures, once and for the last time. The witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures. 1 shall be all the gold from the Golden Land. Kinzo received the massive amount of gold from Beatrice, and rumor has it that it still lies hidden somewhere. Is this, as the family members and servants are all whispering, a code showing the location of Kinzo's hidden gold? Beatrice basically just came about due to Chunibyo tendencies. Honestly. Sometimes that happens. If a human solves it, they will obtain a great quantity of gold. However, if I do, it will mean my own resurrection. Kinzo, you aging magician. Just when I was mocking the shortness of the time left to you, you start a game like this. How interesting. I'll definitely solve it. Then, I will arrive as the real Beatrice. When that happens, I will use my great magical power to rule over Object and Man, day and night, and all of Rakanjima. Everyone says that Epitaph is a guide to finding hidden treasure. The rumors tell that the master has 10 tons of gold hidden away. Hey, Ganon's here now. Wink wink, nudge nudge. Yes, Beatrice supposedly gave it to him. I've heard that one too. 10 tons of gold. That would be incredible. I can hardly even imagine it. If you had all that, what would you use it for? I'd like to touch it just once. Oh, forget touching it. I'd like to spend it all. But why would he go out of his way to display this epitaph? This code showing the hiding place of the gold? That's obvious. He's laughing at everyone since he thinks no one can solve it. It's a challenge to the rest of us, isn't it? He wants to know if there's anyone here wise enough to solve it. It seems that the master doesn't intend to let Kraus-sama take the headship easily. Perhaps the one who solves this will become his successor? Something in my eye. Genji-san, what is this? Could this be a portrait of Beatrice? The Beatrice? Correct. This is Beatrice-sama. What on earth? There's a strange little poem-like thing over here. What's this all about? It's almost like a pirate code that shows the way to hidden treasure. Genji-san, what does this mean? The master said to read and interpret it as you wish. That the riddle applies equally to all who can see the epitaph. You said a riddle just now, didn't you? That means this can be solved. Yes, that's it. Father doesn't want Nisa to succeed him. So, whoever solves this will become the successor. Finally. The tables have finally turned, and now I have a real chance to become the head. Abe was getting ideas. What do you think, Kitty A? I think it's extremely likely that this epitaph points to the location of the hidden gold. Looks like Aniki thinks the one who solves it will be chosen as the successor. That's another theory that might fit. Father certainly doesn't view Cross-Nisan as an ideal successor. This might be a huge trick he's set up now that he's reaching the end of his years. So if you really solve this riddle, you stand to gain 10 tons of gold in the position of successor. On the surface, perhaps. However, I'm sensing some malice, as though he doesn't think anyone capable of solving it. I doubt he made it to be solved easily. True. Heh. Guess we won't have trouble looking for something to do over a drink for a while now. Ridiculous. How could anyone solve this? Rosa tossed aside a notepad with the epitaph written on it and flopped over onto the sofa. Solving this means 10 tons of gold. For that much, I'd never need to worry about schemes for cash again. If I had money, I could pay off my debts. That man might come back to me. Why would you want to buy him? I know where Father's beloved hometown is. In the Sweetfish River? There are many rivers there. What's that? What's the village supposed to be? I don't have a clue. Ooh. What's wrong, Mama? Mario looked concerned. Kids are really good at riddles, so maybe... Hey, Mario, do you think you know the answer to this riddle? Mario gazed at the paper with the epitaph on it as though she was trying to bore through it with her eyes. Her eyes opened wider and wider. What do you think, Mario? I guess it might be a bit too hard for you. Hee hee. This is a witch's ceremony, a resurrection ceremony for Beato. Never should have showed her this. Where did you get this? Hey, Mama, where did you get this? There's some stuff on there I'm surprised Mario can even read, honestly. I'm gonna ask Beato. I'm sure the ceremony will let Beato regain her full power. She'll be able to appear in front of everyone and do miracles of magic without having to worry about the anti-magic toxin anymore. Hee hee, ha 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 ha. And the epitaph. It seems the family members are all competing to solve the riddle. Good. Let everyone try, and none will solve it, except the one blessed by a miracle. If I let my guard down, even I might forget the process. That is how difficult it is. Because it is difficult, solving it will bring about a miracle. Precisely. This miracle shall be the last one I desire in my life. My final bit of magic. When a miracle comes and allows one to solve that complicated epitaph, it will surely be in Beatrice's resurrection. Oh, Beatrice. I just want to see your face one more time. I don't need wealth or honor anymore. If I could only meet you one more time. This would be the last bit of magic that Kinzo. He realized he was facing his last years, whatever years. He was betting everything that Beatrice had given him, hoping to meet her just one more time after being separated by death through 2 generations. His meeting with Beatrice that day had been the true beginning of his life, and even with them gone, Kinzo had remained there alone on that stage that had gone dark. The aged monarch had obtained everything, accomplished everything, but this was the one element that had always slipped through his fingers, no matter how much he struggled. If he could just have that element, he would need nothing else in life. In the end, perhaps his whole life was just a journey to learn. The one single element makes up all that it means to be human. My friend, will my life's idle bit of magic show me a miracle? For a while, Genji was silent. He wasn't at a loss for words or struggling to find an answer. During that silence, something had passed between the 2 men, who had known each other for so long that their friendship surpassed that of master and servant. No, that will do. No one will solve it. That's when a miracle will occur. Master, please, tell me one thing. What is it? If I ask you, if a miracle does occur, It may have been different during his youth, but in his old age, Genji rarely spoke of dreams and what-ifs. When Genji said if, Kinzo quietly waited for the words of the man he called a friend. If a miracle does occur, if your magic comes true, and Beatrice Sama does revive, what will you do? As the one closest to Kinzo, Genji obviously knew of the crazy feelings with which Kinzo would search for Beatrice in the past. And yet, Genji was asking what Kinzo would do if Beatrice did revive. Master, at one time in the past, you experienced the miracle of Beatrice Sama being reborn. If that miracle happened again, what would you do? Don't forget that Genji knows that essentially the 3rd generation Beatrice is alive and is a servant in the house. My friend, so after all, you do blame me. I have no way of knowing everything in your heart and Beatrice Sama's. However, I believe I do understand at least part of the way in which Beatrice Sama adored you. I lament the fact. You may not believe it, but as I have aged, I've come to regret all of it. If a miracle does occur, and Beatrice revives, then, of course, I do not care if she knows nothing of the time she spent with me in the past. No, as long as she is Beatrice, I don't care who she is. I just want to apologize. Is that truly how you feel? Yes, my friend. I regret it. How deeply I regret those mistakes made in youth. You have aged as well, so you must know. One cannot feel guilt for the sins of their youth when one is young. However, like deep thorns, they begin to fester, torturing me. I, Ushimine Kinzo, no longer care how I die. However, this thorn, this regret, is the one account I must settle. I will return everything to Beatrice, and I will ask her to forgive me for my sins, for that is my only and final wish. Oh, wow. Kinzo covered his eyes and sobbed. The aged monarch, who had built up great wealth in a single generation, was reaching the end of his life, and he could do nothing but sob because he wanted someone to apologize to. So, Genji is currently having a debate in his head about whether he should reveal everything before it's too late. Wasn't the epitaph a trial grandfather made to choose the successor? I thought that too at first, but it looks like this situation's a bit different. At this point in time, I also thought it was a trial, that it was a game for selecting the successor, which Ushimine Kinzo decided upon a whim. And it wasn't. This epitaph meant something for Ushimine Kinzo, Kinzo and runaway Genji that only the two of them could understand. So this was not the workings of fate. It was inevitable. I was no more than a Cinderella with the pumpkin carriage and glass slippers all prepared beforehand. I get it. So this was a farce that Kinzo and Genji set up. Kinzo did understand. And Genji realized that this was a message. I don't have a clue what you mean. What did grandfather understand? What does Genji-san have to do with this epitaph? The epitaph wasn't solved. Someone was made to solve it. And then, Beatrice truly revived. If that revival had never happened, then 1986 would still have come, but the incident might have been completely different. And so, since the time of my birth, I've been trapped by the crossroads of fate. Never given the right to make any decisions of my own will. Oh, I am one yet many, and yet we have never been able to resist fate. We are little more than leaves caught in a whirlpool. No matter how we dance, we must eventually be sucked in and disappear. Gap's the one who specializes in instant movement. She's the 33rd in rank at the Great Demons. You must really be incredible to have a friend like that, Beato. Ooh. I see, the Great Demon Gap. Very well, my friend. You will now be Gap. You may call yourself by that name. It took her like 4 years to name her after she said she would do it. Wow. Oh, wonderful. So you've finally given me a name. It's a relief after being nameless so long. In that case, I would be honored to receive a name as well. Being nothing more than the head furniture lacks flavor, does it not? Maria, I need a name for this guy too. He is also a great demon and serves as my butler. He is a subordinate whom I can trust. Ooh, Runaway, I guess. The 27th ranked of the great demons. It said he'll give you reliable underlings. Why, what a coincidence. The family name of my double, Genji, is Runaway. Oh, that truly is a coincidence. I see, it seems this is the best possible name for you. Very well, you shall now be known as Runaway. Oh, how pleasant it is to be called by one's name. I thank you for this wonderful name, Lady Maria. Just as a form can be a vessel, a name can be a powerful vessel too. For unknown creatures of the other world, simply gaining a name can greatly increase their magical power. That's why names are important. Ooh. True, names are important and wonderful. Right, Leah? You can call me Gap now, okay? Gap. A splendid name, I will remember it. And I'll ask you to stop shortening my precious name. Kukukuku. So you're Virgilia, the one who guides travelers to Beatrice? That is also a splendid name. Perfect for my lady's teacher. Yes, I do like it a lot. My name is a life. Maria, thanks to you, my friends have found names. I am deeply grateful. Ooh, now it's your turn, Beato. Draw pictures of my bunny friends, like you did for Sakutaro. Very well. Lend me that grimoire. Uryu, Beato's drawings are really great. I can't wait to see. What will it be like? What will it be like? I can't wait to see the bunnies. Ooh. They were in a forest band, were they not? A band. Yes, something like... All of a sudden, Maria was no longer a little girl who did nothing but follow her mother around, laughing or crying. Though she is still young, she already has a powerful self-image, and possesses enough knowledge of the magical world to surprise even me. Together, we called ourselves Marriage Sorcery, and made each other's magical worlds deeper and richer. So, a name can become a powerful vessel. How profound. It's very important to have a form for a vessel, but a name is just as important. Indeed. Those with names leave a greater impression than those without. It's not just about forms and names. By knowing more and more about them, you can make them exist much more strongly. So I'll think of lots of stuff for you. Did you do this for Sakutaro as well? Yep. Sakutaro isn't just a name. There's a lot more to him than that. He's a lion cub, correct? Sakutaro's not Vegeta. Vegetal lion. I see. He's a vegetal lion, so he doesn't eat meat. But everyone else thinks he does, and they're scared of him. But Sakutaro is also a scaredy cat, so he's just as scared as the others. Goku lion. Sakutaro is such a coward. What are you? I don't eat meat. I'm not a scary lion. Oh look, a flesh-eating sparrow. What are you? Sparrows are scary. Whoosh. Wow, sparrows don't eat meat. They probably eat worms, right? That's meat. I don't know though. I don't know. Maybe some birds don't eat worms. Sakutaro's a coward, so he thinks they do. Kee. Did the sparrow go away? What do you? You're such a scaredy cat, Sakataro. If you keep this up, Sakusuke and Sakukichi will start making fun of you again, right? This is some of her other dolls that we never get to see. Who do you? I'm not a scaredy cat. Ah, the sparrow's back. No, I'll be eaten. Whoosh. Ah, Sakataro's quite entertaining. Then are Sakusuke and Sakukichi's siblings. Yep, they're his little brothers waiting for him at home. Sakusuke is a lot more reliable than Sakataro, and Sakukichi is so skillful he could do anything. But they're all really good friends. They all play together on my bed. Your bed must be covered with lions. Yep, so I call my bed Lionland. I didn't know they were lions too. Oh, how about that? But there's lots of other animals too. Ooh, Lionland is it? It sounds like fun. By interacting together, all of Mario's friends can reinforce their own existence. It's a magnificent world. I guess that means we should work on deepening our relationships as well. By strengthening our bonds, our existence and magical power will grow stronger and stronger. Let's expand our world more and more. From what I've heard, Mario's world is far more than just Sakataro and the bunnies. We can't let her beat us. My. In that case, should we find more minions for ourselves? It's no fun with just the gold butterflies. We need goats. After all, they cannot speak. I'd like some chatty minions who can talk, jump around, and fight with each other. True, of course it'll be better to spice things up around here. Here in Marriage Sorcery, we have learned how to expand our worlds and create new minions. By now, you may create new minions as often as your imagination allows. My lady, what about those? Could you make vessels of those dark tools you found when cleaning out Goldsmith's storage room? Oh, perfect. Minions created from dark-looking vessels like that will surely be fitting for me. There will be more and more of us, and it will get very lively here. Ooh, we'll get more and more new friends. That's my magic, and Beto can take my friends and give them a form. You can make them grow. You create them, and I grow them. You clog them, we clean them. You clean them, we clog them. Indeed. That's Marriage Sorcery for you. Still, bunny ears are pretty hard. It might take some time before the bunnies manifest themselves. Be sure you make them cute. But of course, this is where I get to show my skill. Create a creature, give it a name, give it a form. Doing that is no different from giving birth to new life. When a human gives birth to a child, they give it a form, give it a name to identify it by, and deepen its character by raising it in the world. Marriage Sorcery is doing exactly the same thing. In our world, we can create whatever creatures we think of, give them the forms, give them the names, and give them friends we can interact with. We were engrossed with our game in this world called Marriage Sorcery. At least Mario was engrossed. She would badger me to play this game every time she came. And of course, I was too. However, when Mario started happily writing something, and I just sat there for a while, I must admit that I sighed and looked up at the sky, making sure she didn't notice. It's fun to increase the numbers of our minions. They make things lively, so I do not tire of it. I may have tired of my minions alone, but even that problem goes away when I can interact with Mario's as well. It's a little bit slow, but it's not as bad as like episode 4's Angie stuff. It takes 2 people to create a universe. In general, the Clara play is okay. It's long, but it's very, very revealing. This is was Beatrice's way of confessing a certain truth to you. I now have that second person, so I'm satisfied. But things slow down a little bit with Mario on the screen here. I think we've already completed Mario's arc. I think I am satisfied. And yet one little part of me is not. It truly is a tiny part. After all, it's so much fun playing with Mario that time seems to fly on by. But even so, when I look up at the sky, during those short moments, I feel an empty feeling I can't describe. I know my universe is not complete. My apologies to Mario, but she's not the second person I want to create a universe with. No matter how much I nurture my world with her, the roots of love in my heart leave gaps. 4 years have already passed since that day. He laughed, saying he'd come for me riding a white horse. I was the only one without a letter. And he even said that he probably wouldn't be returning to Rakenjima. Is this love? I always believed that love was so much sweeter, so much more intoxicating. But now, I don't know anymore. Though I longed for him so much it's maddening, I can sometimes feel hatred underneath. However, even that hatred is wrapped in adoration. The roots of love have remained in the corners of my heart all this time. At some time, I gave up hoping that Battle would return. However, the roots of love stayed right where they were. In other words, even 4 years later, I still believe. He will come back someday. The flower of love, the flower of my love, is curled up and withered as though against the winter cold. However, the root is still alive. And it is always, always waiting for him to return. Waiting for a chance to bloom beautifully again. I'm grateful to Maria. Marriage sorcery has eased the burden on my heart so much. If we hadn't met like this, I may have withered away along with that root. Even this incomplete universe is necessary for me to remain alive now. I must live on until I can create my complete universe. Until that day, I will not be complete. Though I have a form and a name, no matter how deep my world grows, I will not be complete. I am not complete. Beato? I accidentally muttered what I had been thinking. Maria stopped talking to Sakataro. I regretted that my slip of the tongue had ruined this fun time, but there was a long silence before I could smooth it over. I laughed, but it probably sounded hollow. Maria, not knowing why my face had suddenly changed like this, looked taken aback. Though my minions will each deepen this world in their own existences, becoming full, I alone will never be complete. I know why I will not be complete. It's because you don't have enough magical power. Maria answered instantly. Beatrice has lost her magical power and is unable to regain the strength she once had. That's how the story goes. So Maria's answer was correct. That's right. I may be incomplete because I've lost my magical power. In that case, if my power becomes complete, and I revive in the true sense, will my world become complete as well? Does that mean that the person I want to nourish a universe with will come back? If, as I claim, I really was able to control miracles at will in the past with my magic, then if I succeed in reviving, would that miracle definitely occur? If such a thing were possible, I'd want true magical power to use for my resurrection. That's right. It's because I do not possess enough magical power. Poor Beato, it must be pretty inconvenient with your magical power still weak. I want to get it back quickly. My old power. I guess you'll have to do that then. What do you mean by that? The ceremony of resurrection. The ceremony of the portrait's epitaph. Oh, she's thinking about it. If you read that epitaph literally, it does sound like a witch's resurrection ceremony. To Maria, who believes in witches, that epitaph must be a ceremony in itself. Unlike the other family members, it seems that she's not very interested in the location of the hidden gold. If that epitaph's riddle is solved, one might learn the location where Kinzo hid all the gold I once gave him. That's the gold you created with magic, right? Indeed. A crystallization of the great magic I possessed in those days. In that case, if you get that gold back, your magical power will go back to normal. Perhaps. It will. Ooh, it's gotta be a resurrection ceremony. I'll help, so let's solve it together. Then you'll revive, and when you do, you'll take me to your Golden Land. That's right. I did promise that I would take you to the Golden Land. You said that all wishes are granted there. There's no black witch there, just a nice mama. And I might even meet the papa I've never seen before. Of course, there won't be any school or homework or bullying friends, and we can live happily ever after. Hey, Sakataro, doesn't that sound fun? Who do you? The epitaph of the portrait. So, must I face the epitaph's riddle after all? If Kinzo's children struggled uselessly over it, how could a complete stranger like me solve it? If I did happen to solve it, that would surely be a miracle. Will doing that bring about another miracle and return my miraculous power to me? Behold the sweet-fish river running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the Golden Land, follow its path downstream and search the key. So, am I to travel down a river in Kinzo's homeland in search of a key? As you travel down the river, you will see a village. In that village, look for the shore the two will tell you of. There sleeps the key to the Golden Land. There may be villages if you go down a river, but what is the shore the two will tell you of? The one who obtains the key must then travel to the Golden Land in accordance with these rules. So those who do not have the key need not read the rest. I do not understand it, but that's how this riddle is. It's practically unsolvable, so solving it would be a miracle. That much makes sense. I felt a stabbing pain in my body. The anti-magic toxin had burned my skin. Some human is probably approaching. I raised my form. Multiple sets of footsteps approached. It was Genji, Shannon, and Kennen too. It seems everyone is engrossed with solving the epitaph's riddle. Yes, I hear that even some of the servants have copied it down and taken it home with them. If you solve this riddle, will you really find 10 tons of gold? Indeed. There can be no doubt of that. I don't understand. The puzzle may be a tough one, but why is the master storing the location of his precious gold in a place where everyone can see? That is the master's magic, and also a bet. The master believes that the one who solves this difficult riddle will contain Beatrice Sama's soul within them. That's a strange bet. Magic. Looks like he's taken his occult fanaticism as far as it could possibly go. Oh, I think that was Kinzo. Sorry, Canon saying that. Shh. You shouldn't say that. That was Shannon. I keep reading in Genji's voice. All are allowed to try and solve the epitaph's riddle. Of course, the servants are no exceptions. Will you try to solve it? No. I could never solve such a hard riddle. And anyway. Even if I had 10 tons of gold, I can't think of anything in particular I'd want to use it for. I'd be more than happy if these peaceful days continued forever. Looks like you and George-sama have been pretty close these days. I just hope being distracted doesn't make you even more of a klutz. So in this time, Shannon has got to know George. That won't happen. With a backward glance at this conversation, Genji walked up to the portrait and looked up at the witch. When they saw what Genji was doing, Shannon and Canon immediately went silent. Genji, who was the head of the servants, the closest in age to Kinzo, and the one whom Kinzo called a friend, probably understood Kinzo's heart better than anyone else. What did he think when he looked at this portrait? Neither Shannon nor Canon could tell. Behold the sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown. Suddenly, Genji started reciting the epitaph. Shannon quickly nodded to show that she was listening, but it wasn't clear whether he was talking to her at all. Genji, his back still to them, continued. The master would not describe Odawara as his beloved hometown. I've heard that he lived far away, though we don't know where it was. Taiwan. Genji turned around and spoke that single word. Oh, is that so? I see, so that explains what Cross-sama always used to say. Remember him talking about how the master liked Ataka nuts? Or Arisa? I don't know how it's pronounced. I'm gonna think of it. Cross-sama said that those were a luxury item like tobacco that was popular in Taiwan. So that's where the master... In the half-century before the war, Taiwan was under the rule of Japan. Many Japanese had moved there seeking a new frontier. Kinzo's family was a branch family of the Ushida Miyas. Apparently, they were only distantly related to the head family, so they were able to form a new life and a new future, without being constrained by the head family in Odawara. Shannon and Canon nodded on understanding, but they didn't know why Genji had suddenly broached this subject. So, there was a river with sweet fish in it, in the master's hometown in Taiwan, and the key is there? Don't be so stupid. There has to be several rivers with sweet fish in the area. We don't know that for sure, right? I don't know where the master lived in Taiwan, but there might have only been one river there. If so, that must be the place. You're too optimistic. There's no way the riddle could be solved that easily. The master says his magical ceremony will gain more power if more people try to solve the riddle. You must try as well. Everyone has been given the same chance. Yes. As if we had a chance. This is pointless. Genji spun around. Shannon and Canon hurried to follow after him. When his footsteps receded and silence returned, a gold butterfly flitted out from among the shadows. They've been given a hint. Taiwan, is it? Oh, so we live quite far away. Behold the Sweetfish River running through my beloved hometown. In other words, the Sweetfish River running through Taiwan? There are many rivers in Taiwan. Kenan was right. How ridiculous. However, the word Taiwan interests me. That taciturn Genji muttered it without anyone asking, so is it even possible that it means nothing? Clearly, Genji's saying that it has something to do with the epitaph's riddle. It's almost as though that was a hint for solving it. Though I do find it stupid. Very well, Genji. Why don't I play along with your farce for a while? Taiwan. I've traveled the world at times during these past 1,000 years, but I know nothing of the place. To counter my ignorance, I shall need a crystallization of knowledge. That would just smooth out and press it into any mini sheets. What is called a book. A book. Where might I find a book about Taiwan? Kinzo study is the first place that comes to mind if one is looking for books. But that won't work. The charm in that room prevents me from entering. So the library, is it? The library it is. Ginzo's vast collection of books grows every year. The books that don't fit in his study are stored in a book storage room that we usually call the library. Of course, there are countless books just in this place. The library has everything from valuable books to apparently worthless books, all packed together like an antique shop. There was a golden glint in the keyhole of the library's door, and a gold butterfly flitted out. Stinky as ever, I see. Dust, mold, I see, so this is the stench of knowledge. Well now, how can I find a book on Taiwan amongst all this? The prospect is almost dizzying. However, I realized right away, if I wanted to quickly find out about Taiwanese rivers, I didn't want a book on Taiwan. An atlas. There must be one of those somewhere around here. Search my butterfly minions, find the book I seek in this dusty noble graveyard of knowledge. A cloud of countless gold butterflies appeared at my feet. They swayed, quaked the wind, and coiled themselves around the library. Eventually, the cloud of butterflies selected a single book. It seems that this is the one. In other words, she probably just searched for hours and hours. Well done. A World Atlas, Asia volume. Perfect. It was a grand, thick, illustrated encyclopedia of maps, several volumes long. There was even a thick section on Taiwan. This should be plenty useful. Taiwan. 394 kilometers north to south, 144 kilometers east to west. An area of roughly 36,000 square kilometers. Oh, that's pretty large. By area, that's about the same as Kyushu in Japan. This led Beato to a very natural question. Just where on this massive island did Kinzo live? Genji mentioned Taiwan, but that's all. How careless I've been. Beato had vaguely assumed that the riddle would be solved in a flash if she could just look at a map of Taiwan. However, Taiwan is no small place. Just which part of this large island did Kinzo call his beloved hometown? I kept looking through books in this dusty library, sometimes having to cough. I was not happy with being stuck in a place like this. So, the largest city is Taipei. It says here that Japanese people used to live in a spot called Taisho. So is that where Kinzo lived? No, it's too early to be sure of that without proof. I'll skip to the next part before I settle on anything more specific than just Taiwan itself. A Sweetfish River running through the hometown. What's this? There are 129 rivers in Taiwan? Gah, 129 rivers. And how many of those have sweetfish swimming in them? Just thinking about it is dizzying. It's not that many rivers. This was quickly becoming ridiculous. Genji must have been muttering nonsense to himself after all. I only thought he was giving out a hint about the epitaph. So the reward for the fool blinded by gold is dust. Nice one, Genji. I tossed the book aside, used magic to turn a bookshelf into a sofa, and plopped down on top of it. For a while, I grumbled about getting tricked and looked up at the ceiling. I was annoyed, so I felt like gathering all this room's dust, packing it into a ball, and tossing it into Genji's teacup. So I glanced down at the floor. The book I had thrown away lay open on the ground. A gold butterfly was resting on that open page. Tossing a book at random and reading an oracle from the page it happens to open is a kind of ritual. I see, so that page might have some kind of hint. Not entirely convinced, I picked the book up. The open page was probably very near the one I had been reading. Apparently, it was a page explaining Taiwan's geography. Oddly enough, it was a page about rivers and lakes. I already know that there are 129 rivers. Is there something else you're trying to tell me? There were 6 major rivers listed. Suo Shui River, Kaoping River, Danshui River, Daijo River, Zhenwun River, Daru River. Oh, now then, which of these rivers might have sweetfish in them? An idea came to me then. Sweetfish are freshwater fish. You don't find ocean water in rivers. Unless it's extremely dirty or blocked by a dam. Any river might have sweetfish in it. How foolish. All rivers have fresh water in them. What's stopping sweetfish from living in any river? Couldn't think of it. What a foolish name this Danshui River has. Freshwater river? What sort of river isn't a freshwater river? I see, so Danshui is like Tanshui. Okay. It would only make sense to name a river after what's in it if it were literally anything else. Danshui River flows from Taipei to the harbor town of Danshui. I see. It isn't called that because of the water in it, but because of the town at its mouth. As you travel down the river, you will see a village. In a village, look for the shore that you will tell you of. I always thought this is stupid. Yeah, there's something about this town. Behold the Sweetfish River running through my beloved hometown. That line should be talking about one of the 129 rivers. Sweetfish are freshwater fish. And here's this freshwater river going down to a town called Freshwater. It's like a strange trivial word game. It could be some kind of code. I've been looking for books here so long that the dust is piling up on me. If I give up now, it'll all have been a waste of time. You can go back tomorrow. Very well. Why don't I test my luck and see if the random page the book opened to contains an oracle? I turned to the next page, trying to search in even greater detail. To me, solving this riddle was like a game, one that all the servants were engrossed in. I was just trying to be one of that group. For quite some time, I had suffered from a lack of books I could find particularly absorbing, and I was very bored. So I took that book back with me to my own room and looked through it every night. There's a hint for the epitaph's riddle in an atlas. In the third game, Ava solved the riddle after reading a book in the book archive. Then, in the fifth game, Widow Erica looked for an atlas in that room before solving the riddle herself. Then there really is some secret in a map of Taiwan. I believe that the Sweetfish River part was a code for Danshui River. Every day, I researched the surroundings geography in detail. Of course, I also looked up several small streams that might have sweetfish in them. However, that didn't get me anywhere. According to some information from a previous game, we aren't looking for a natural river, but it is something that flows. That's how Ava interpreted it. So it isn't a river? Correct. In the end, Danshui River had nothing to do with it. However, now that I think about it, it must have been an oracle after all. The river itself was unrelated, but it was still a great hint. The river is unrelated, but it was still a hint? Calm down and think. Think of something that flows but isn't a river. So, something other than water that flows? What can you think of? Try and think outside the box. Will, I'm tired of all this puzzle solving. Stop being annoying and give us the answer. You solved the epitaph, right? Oh, we're gonna get it. Probably. Something other than water that flows? Something? Methods of transportation? Like a road or a highway? Correct. It took me so long to realize that the Sweetfish River did not refer to water itself. That's right. There's something other than a river with the name Danshui. Something that both people and things flow up and down. Up and down? You mean... That's it. Railroads. The Danshui Line is a railroad that goes from Taipei to Danshui Harbor. It was constructed in 1901 while Taiwan was under Japanese rule. Check that something line? If you want, sure. Where is it? It doesn't go back very far. I'm not even sure which line it is anymore. Hold on. It might be gone already. Oh, is it here? I think it's this one, right? The one that mentions the road or highway at the end, the message of transportation. I can take a peek. Yeah, it's here. So something that flows outside of water, thing, and then they like combine words there, but that I don't know. Butsuryu. Never seen that before. Physical distribution or logistics. Huh. I would assume how it's written is like this, probably, right? That's freshwater, if I recall right. Oh, my control key popped off. What the heck? Hold on. I've lost control of my life. Wait, literally. There we go. So they're just thinking about like something, thing, flow of things. And they're like how could you distribute things? Yeah, that's exactly what I assumed. Let's see. I can't stop in the middle of this, I guess. We'll solve the epitaph and stop for the day. It was constructed in 1901, while Taiwan was under Japanese rule. Afterwards, the number of stations continued to grow, and it became a major artery into Taipei. This railroad was used after the war as well. It is still in common use as the Danshui Line of the Taipei Rapid Transit System. Its route begins at Taipei Station and continues on until the town of Danshui. Daihoku Station? I don't know what this would be in like Taiwanese, but Daihoku, I'd assume. Oh, is it? Hold on. Oh, you're right. Yeah, okay, that just says Taipei. Oh, I didn't know. Huh. I've seen Taiwan before. I don't think I've ever seen Taipei written in kanji before. Cool. Then Chang'an, huh? Daijingji. I don't know why they didn't romanize these somehow in this. They kind of make this unreadable in English. That's very strange. But, yeah, okay. Anyway, what did the epitaph say to see if you went down the river? A village. There's only one station on the Danshui line with Sato, the character for village, and its name. So if we go back here, well, it's not here, so I guess we didn't get there yet, probably. Okay. Oh, you're saying it's the last one? You're saying that counts as village? Is that supposed to be village? Is that like how it's shrunk to? Oh, okay, they just hadn't mentioned that it was formally that yet. Okay. Okay, fuck off. Okay. Now, how do you read this? The Japanese pronounce it as Kirigan. I see that. Its name was changed to Sekihai, station after the war, but when Kinzo lived there, it was Kirigan Station. As you travel down the river, you'll see a village, a ri, or sato. In that village, look for the shore the two will tell you of. Sato isn't the only one. You can also see a kishi, the character for shore. In the end, it took me quite a long time to work out that this station was the one referred to. It's the character for village and the character for shore. It felt like a kid's riddle playing with letters. Yep. The first character in Kirigan has a kuchi, the character for mouth. And I think sono? Sono? You can say this. Sono, right? Sore, sono. You don't usually use this on its own, but you could just call it ki here because I guess Kirigan. So I don't know, but whatever you want to call it. You're not really supposed to read it out loud here. You're just supposed to look at the character and be like, yeah, that means that, right? That village is shore, and the mouth is telling of it. Ah, but I don't get what the two means. The three characters of Kirigan can be split into a mouth, a that, a village, and a shore. Those are all words that appear in the epitaph. In that village, look for the shore the two will tell you of. You can read it as a code for the name of the station. However, I don't understand the part about the two. I was also stuck on that part. However, by then, I was very confident that the station was what the epitaph referred to. If the station was once known by a different name, then could some local spot also have had its name changed? That's right. Kirigan Station was named after a nearby location after all. And though the name of that area was also Kirigan, it's written differently. Oh boy. Ah, there are two mouths. So we had a mouth to the middle kanji, the village kanji here. It didn't take much investigation before it was clear. The epitaph must have been referring to this place called Kirigan. And is this where the key to the Golden Land rests? That would be the obvious answer. However, I couldn't make the long trip to Taiwan to check. And of course, the place known as Kirigan is quite large itself. What? Sorry, wrong voice. If a tiny key was hidden somewhere there, I'd never find it. I was at a loss. But you didn't give up. I was certain that I had found the answer, at least to the first 5 lines of the epitaph. In my eyes, it truly was an entertaining game. No, a mystery. I almost gave up then. However, there was no doubt that I had the key in my hand. So I decided to travel to the Golden Land in accordance with the epitaph. And the first twilight offered the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. We can tell by this line that the key refers to 6 things. Reasoning makes it possible to see that this couldn't refer to a physical key. 6 things? Yes, 6 things. I was merely a thick-headed human. I decided to look through books for anything related to the number 6. 6. 666. The location of the key called Kirigan was hidden by a word game. That meant the 6 things were surely connected to some sort of word game too. 6. 666. I kept searching for 6. Is there some way to split up the characters in Kirigan to get 6? A good idea. Still, no matter how much you stare at those 3 characters, you won't get an answer. The problem here is that Kirigan is just the Japanese reading of the name. Then how do they pronounce it there? Kirian. Sure. Something like that. When written in Roman letters, that's 6 letters long. 6 letters. Then it is a word game after all. This is what it means by the 6 chosen by the key. I get it. Talking about it like this, it sounds like a line of reasoning that could be reached in a second. However, it took a long time before I reached this spot on my own. A dizzying number of nights passed from the time Genji uttered that single word to the time I got this far. So what does it mean to offer these 6 letters as sacrifices? On the second twilight, we start hearing about those who remain. Reasoning opens up the possibility that the 6 letters of the key are being removed from an even larger set of letters. However, what could the 6 letters be removed from? That puzzle worried me for a long time. It's like the start of an entirely new riddle. This time, I would have to solve it all by myself without any assistance. In a previous game, I'm pretty sure Aunt Rosa formed some sort of theory about the first twilight. Right, that theory about a 10-day journey ending at the 10th twilight. On the 10th twilight, at journey's end, you shall attain to the power of the Golden Land's treasures once and for the last time. She took that section to be a little trip that ends when you attain to or reach the treasures of the Golden Land. What meaning was there in those words? Realizing that there was something to be found, and then realizing what that something actually was, took another stretch of time. By Rosa's reasoning, attain to meant reaching some physical location represented by the 4 treasures. It was a good try, but not quite right. It's not the treasures we're supposed to reach, but their power. What does it even mean to reach the power of something like that? Don't overthink it. What else can the word power mean? You reach, or rather raise yourself to the power of the 4 treasures, starting at twilight number 10. And this is done once and for the last time. Oh, so it's an S point, like a math problem. Yeah, the epitaph is really kind of silly. It's ridiculous. Someone solved it before it was revealed, though. Like, for real, online. But there were so many different theories that I don't think it was, like, widely accepted as the truth, probably. Here, I had a home field advantage since I lived on Akenjima. There was a hint there that made it easier to think of a certain large number. In fact, you might say that I actually found the answer before I knew what the question was. If you keep making it so complicated, Leon's gonna get a headache. Alright, June, come on, I can't see there. Do you really want to lay down in front of the screen? Come on, honey. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, you can be over there. Let's get back to the point. 10 to the 4th power is 10,000. You reach 10,000 out of the 10th twilight. How far have you gotten by the first twilight? Well, that's just 1/10 of 10,000. 1,000, right? Right. But while that gives us a single word, it is nowhere near enough letters, and it doesn't match the key at all. However, the end of the line says, you will attain to the power once and for the last time. If we interpret this as raising 10 to the 4th power once, and then doing the same thing one final time, we end up with 10 quadrillion. That's 10 quadrillion at the 10th twilight, or quadrillion at the first twilight. As Belter guessed in the 5th game, it has 11 letters. Or should I say, as you guessed. Strangely enough, both words begin with Q. I felt that this just had to be right. Lane took a notepad from her pocket and spelled out quadrillion and Kilian. The 2 words even look similar at a glance. That's right. It's true that the 6 letters chosen by the key are right there inside quadrillion. So what happens if we take them out? Udrol. We're left with 5 meaningless letters. However, the important thing is the number 5. After all, in the next part of the epitaph, the word kill appears 5 times. And then, on the 9th twilight, none shall be left alive. In other words, there should be 5 letters left. On top of that, just as Ballerson guessed in the 5th game, 2 of these letters are close to each other. The D and the R. Those must be the 2 who are close. Once you reach this spot, the riddle has been practically solved. Or put another way, this is as far as you can go with the epitaph alone. You might be able to figure out the answer with a little more wordplay, but you won't be able to activate the device. That's right. Once you know this much, all that remains is to go out and kill. You had a good idea of where the place was. Even before you got this far, right? Yes. Some people suspected that the gold was hidden there even before the epitaph appeared. Yeah, the quadrillion part really was in English to begin with, yes. It was. Quadrillion has come up like once or twice in the story. The location has been shown once or twice. It's only natural that I thought the place concealed some secret. What do you mean by the place? The place with a device that opens the door to the Golden Land. A quick-witted person should be able to figure out where the first twilight is by now. Huh? I thought the first Twilight was quadrillion, not a place. It's the place where quadrillion is written. You should know it. Why did you blindly follow Kinzo's orders and never go near it? Glare. Okay, but that's the start of chapter 9, the final chapter here, so I think that's a good time to wrap up. We clearly still have a fair bit left, but we solved the epitaph, we just need to apply the answer next time. And then I think soon after that is going to be a very, very good scene that I've been waiting the whole VN for. That's kind of the highlight. It's one of the only things I clearly remembered about episode 7.